All right, so we're back at it. We are still working on the car. Really don't know how to start this video because I've started 2 or 3 videos and I just haven't posted them because it's still just working on the roll bar, which I'm sure everybody's tired of. But I got the roll bar mostly done. So the plan is today we're gonna get the front lower A-arms I bought off eBay. Didn't come painted, so we're gonna get those painted up, and then we're gonna get on this video we'll get the front suspension installed and the lightweight steering column installed, which I'll talk about that more later. All right, so we're back at it. So got the front end painted, which still got to do some more grinding and stuff and adding more parts later for the front fenders and stuff, but it's nice to see it in paint. Hopefully it'll quit rusting now. And today I took out this panel because my plan is I gotta get the lightweight steering column in, and once I get that on, I want to get my rack and pinion in so I can get all that adjusted. And then once we do that, we'll do front suspension. And the last part, I ordered a brake kit off eBay for the Mustang II Front spindles, and the last part came in today. It was shipped out separate, so I've got everything I need for the front end now. So hopefully we'll get the steering column in and get that figured out, and then we'll get the brakes and stuff on. So yeah, let's get going. So I got my plate screwed in from the front there, and you can see that's where I'd marked it, where I was going to drill the hole so the steering column can come through. So I'm probably going to go a little bit lower than that, just a tiny smidge. And then actually probably not, I'm just going to drill where I marked it, and then we'll take it back out, and then hopefully we can get a steering column in and start testing. So we got the TRZ Foxbody lightweight steering column modified to fit in the Falcon, which I didn't film much of this, but I took the little swivel ball out of the TRZ one and cut it out a hole in this one and stuff, and got it in here. The reason I'm not recording this is I'm just stealing it from another YouTuber. If you watch Team D Performance, they are also building a 63 Ford Falcon, and they have a great video on what you need to do to get the TRZ Foxbody lightweight steering column to fit in the Falcon. It's awesome. So I'm just following their instructions, and I'm fixing to get this thing welded up and test fitted. One thing they did, so when he did his, he didn't have the right sized hole saw. His was a little bit bigger, and it kind of messed up on him. So I don't have the right size hole saw either, but I went a little smaller, and then all I had to do was I had to get longer bolts. Those nuts right there, the bolts right there weren't long enough, the ones that came with the TRZ kit, so I had to extend those out a little bit, and now it's going to work fine. So you can get away with a little bit smaller, but not a little bit bigger. So thanks for watching. We'll get this thing welded and test fitted. Alright, so it's actually the next day here, and got my metal plate cut, got the TRZ firewall through thing, whatever that thing's called, transferred over to my template so it fits on the Falcon, and then got it installed, so that's where it is. And then on the inside, it still all needs trimmed, but you can see I've got the bracket modified so it bolts into where the stock steering column bolted in. Got that in there, and you can see where it goes through the firewall down there. So now I just got to figure out this length. Ooh, that's bad, son. But hopefully we can figure out the length. But for today, the plan is to figure out this part. So I'm gonna go get my rack and pinion and figure out the U-joints I need to go from here to my rack and pinion. So we'll get that sorted out and go from there. All right, so already hitting roadblocks. So this is a rack and pinion I bought. It's a manual rack and pinion I bought off of eBay a while ago, but it's not lining up. So you can see where that one goes in, and then I don't know if that's hard to see, but you can see it's not lining up with my cross member. So let me go do some more research and Was really hoping to make some good progress today, but as is often the case, roadblocks. So we'll go see what we can figure out and go from there. But I'm also going to go ahead and see if the universal I bought to go here fits, because that'll be another roadblock if it doesn't fit. So let me get that sorted out and we'll be back. All right, so once again I didn't do enough reading. So the rack and pinion I bought is a 16-inch centered rack, and my cross member is 15.5. But luckily they do make offset bushings, so I can order some bushings that are offset a 1/2 inch, so I can make a 16-inch rack work on a 15.5 inch spacing. So that's cool. And I went ahead and got my steering column mocked up. And one good thing is my U-joint I bought works for the steering. So now I just got to get the distance from here to here, and I'll get that cut, so I can at least go ahead and mock that up and hopefully get that welded up this week while I'm waiting on these bushings. And pretty sure I'll probably go ahead and put on the control arms and the brakes and such. I'm not gonna put the shocks on yet because I don't want them out in the weather, but I don't care. I mean, if the disc brakes rust, they'll match the rest of the car. But you know, if they rust a little bit, you know, they'll clean up once I start using the car and driving it. But so I think I might put the front suspension on, and then first things first, I'm gonna get this cut, get it mocked up, and that way I can weld on it this week in the garage when I have time. And then go from there. The only thing I'm not sure about is if I weld this and I weld this and I weld this, then the only way to get the steering column loose really is to take off the rack, and so I can take this part out, which I guess won't be too big of a deal, just taking the rack loose. But we'll figure that out. Thanks. And once I get the steering mocked up on the outside, I'll have to do some measuring in here and probably get my seat mounted halfway in here and try to figure out, because the steering wheel looks like it's probably going to be a little bit lower than it used to be, which isn't too big of a deal, I don't think. But it definitely, you know, because this is where the old column rests, so you can see it was a little bit different of an angle, but I don't know if it's enough to matter. So we'll probably do that and get that mocked up. And I am gonna get a new steering wheel, but I'll get that one apart so I can get it on my quick disconnect, just so we can mock that stuff up with a seat in here and make sure I'm comfy. So got online, ordered me some offset bushings. So you know, that's a miss on my part, but at least they make bushings, so hopefully they'll get here next week or this week. And I went ahead and rough cut my steering linkage, so you know it'll come out of the firewall, go to the U-joint, come down, go to this U-joint, and go this. I just don't want to weld anything really. I was talking about going ahead and welding it up, but I really don't want to until I get the rack and pinion mounted for real. So we'll probably put a hold on that stuff. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my upper and lower control arms and spindle and get it installed on this side, and then hopefully the other side if I don't run out of daylight. So yeah, we're making progress. All right, so got the upper and lower A arms on, so got the spindle out too, so we'll get the spindle on next. And I'm not really tightening anything down to torque yet. We're just gonna get stuff hand tight, snugged, and then we'll get it as a roller, and then we'll go back through and torque everything for real once I have the steering settled and all that stuff, because I don't want to torque everything down and have to break everything back loose for no reason. So let's get the spindle on, and then we'll go dig up some brakes. Got the spindle on, and one thing I do have to say, if you ever buy cheap A-arms off eBay like I did, the boots stink on the ball joint. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that yet, but it already looks like it's starting to crack, which is just bad. It's been sitting in the garage and it's starting to crack. But anyway, got my brakes out, so got some new wheel bearings, new dust cover, all that happy stuff, and got a disc brake there, so we'll get the bearings greased up and get them in the rotor, and then get this thing put on. I gotta find a rag, wipe that off where it's kind of got grease and dirt on it from test fitting, and need to go look at the disc brake brackets and see if I need to bolt that onto the spindle before or after. I think it'd be after, but we'll find out. All right, so got the rotor unpacked and the oil seal and the bearings. Kind of neat, the rotor already has the races installed, so I don't know if I should or not, but I think I'm just gonna leave the inner race that's already in there and just pack my bearing and throw it in there. So we'll see if that comes back to bite me, but I think that's a lot better than having to beat the race out of the new rotor and replace it. So I don't know, let me know if you think that's a bad idea. It's probably gonna be too late to change it by the time you watch this video, but we'll go roll with it. All right, so got the rotor on and went ahead and got the caliper bracket and the caliper out and got them installed just to make sure they're gonna fit. I'm gonna take them off now and we're gonna get them painted. It's kind of cold today, so I don't know, but I'm gonna try to get both of those painted and then we'll start working on the other side. And hopefully by the time they're dry, I can I'll put the caliper bracket back on. I'm probably gonna keep the calipers inside just a little bit longer so they're just not sitting out in the rain until I can get the brake lines and stuff hooked up. But the cheap eBay rotors don't look too bad, so it's starting to look like a race car, kind of. I don't know, what do you think? But let me get this thing back apart and get those two parts painted, and we'll go from there. All right, so we got these things cleaned up and fixing to, just kind of got them in the sun, letting them warm up a little bit, because it is kind of, I think it's like 50 today. Well, we'll see. Did buy me some caliper paint, so we'll hit up these parts with caliper paint and see how they do. Got the first coat on it, so we'll let this dry a little bit and then we'll do a second coat. While this is drying, we'll start putting the other side together. So got the driver's side A-arms and rotors on. Like I said, nothing's torqued yet, but I got those on. Got the passenger side on. Got a big mess to clean up. And then, just to recap, got steering column in, which is cool. You know, next video we'll get the seat in and get that thing chopped to where it needs to be. Hopefully my offset bushings show up. And all we're doing now is we're waiting for, I'm gonna keep the rotors in the garage until we get a little farther along, but I got the caliper brackets. We'll go ahead and got the last coat of paint on them, so letting those dry, and then we'll get that on. But you know, finally making some progress in the car. Feels good. Weather's getting nice, so really want to get it done so I can get to the track. So this caliper stuff is pretty cool. This paint, it's cold today. I painted this about 20 minutes ago and it's dry. So interesting. That's kind of crooked. But anyway, we're gonna get these calipers installed and then call it a day on the car. Picking up all my tools, getting them put away. Get a tarp over my rotors. They're probably gonna get rusty and ugly, so take a look at them now. Ain't they pretty? Last time they looked that good. Shade tree garages aren't kind to break rotors like that, but hopefully they'll look all right once we get the car going down the road and start using the brakes. It should fix it up. And yeah, I'm gonna look up the torque specs for all this stuff. Once I get the offset bushings in and get the steering finalized, we'll get torque specs, get everything torqued, and then pretty soon after I get the front done, steering column done, and then I can do the dash bar, because I'm kind of, all I got left on the roll bar is the dash bar and the two door bars. But you can see the dash bar is supposed to go across, so I don't know, it's gonna have to be pretty low to clear that steering column, so I might have to do some finagling there. Not sure if I want to be banging my shins on the roll bar all the time, but we'll figure that out hopefully this week. We'll see how everything goes. I don't know what shipping looks like on those bushings yet. I just ordered them today, but I really appreciate everybody watching, and we will keep at it, and hopefully we'll be making passes in this thing by the spring. How about by the fall? That sounds a little more realistic. All right, thanks everybody.